Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Football Friday. That means we're brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Working towards a weekend. Hope that work week's in the rearview mirror. If you still got a little bit left, we'll get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Preston Guy with us in 15 minutes talking Tigers. LSU and Arkansas from up on the hill in Fayetteville. Tomorrow, we got to get you ready for the NFL weekend to come at 1:30. My SEC picks against the spread. 2 winning weeks in a row. Got to keep it rolling, We'll play some take it or leave it. My final pick for this game between LSU and Arkansas coming up in about an hour and 45 minutes from right now. However, we unfortunately will start with the New Orleans Saints. Pretty predictable last night, right, guys? Pretty predictable. New Orleans had no ability to do anything at all on the offensive side of the football. Spencer Rattler was in there. He was ineffective. They couldn't block. They couldn't run the ball. He ends up getting hurt after turning the ball over a couple of times. Hayner throws a touchdown. Too little, too late. Drew Brees gets honored. Sean Payton comes back. It's just an absolute snooze fest to try to watch this team play football right now. And it was last night. It was a great time at LeBear's last night. We had a wonderful time. Great environment. We're watching some baseball, watching the Saints. But the game is just not interesting to watch because this Saints offense is completely ill-equipped with the personnel that it has on the field to do anything against upper-level NFL defenses. And the Broncos are certainly an upper-level NFL defense, even if Pat Surtain Jr. is not out there on the field, which he wasn't. Rattler finishes 25 of 35. He was dinking and dunking when he stretched the field. It wasn't pretty. The pass rush affected him all night. I mean, on one play, Nick Saldiveri absolutely whiffed on a defensive tackle. I don't even know how that's possible, but it happened. Rattler immediately chucked it down the sideline out of bounds on a third down for that play. None of that is surprising. None of it is overly concerning. They just don't have their guys, and you're not going to be able to play at the NFL level without these guys. I told you yesterday, I'm putting my foot in my mouth. I'm admitting I'm wrong. 2 weeks ago, I told you I don't want to hear about injuries. It's not an excuse. Everybody's got injuries. Go out there and play. When you have this many injuries and you don't have your center and you don't have your right guard and you don't have your left guard and you don't have Taysom Hill, and you don't have Rashid Shaheed who got carted off the field, you don't have Chris Olave, you don't Rashid didn't play. I mean, the carted off defensive player there, Adebo. Either way, you don't have Rashid Shaheed, you don't have Chris Olave, you don't have your offensive guys. That is just part of the deal, and I don't have to weigh in on my takes on the franchise when you look at your offense. When you look at the defense and their complete and total inability to stop the run game at all, that was the backbone of this franchise for a long time. You had Brees on offense, and no one could run the ball. I mean, what was the streak of 100-yard rushers? You didn't have a 100-yard rusher for multiple seasons, and now it's just a turnstile. 35 carries for 225 yards for Denver last night. That is an average of 6.4 yards per carry, and there wasn't even a carry to skew the numbers. Bo Nix had one 32-yard run. Javonte Williams had one 20-yard run. Jaleel McLaughlin had one 21-yard run. But they were just consistently moving the pile. And I don't know if the Saints aren't good enough, if they're too old, if they're not motivated, if they're frustrated because the offense can't do anything. But one way or another, the Saints defense has collapsed over the last month. And they're not hurt. Warner was out and Adebo left the game. But you had Lattimore. You had Matthew. He's dropping picks. Cam Jordan's out there. Chase Young's out there. Granderson's out there. Brazie's out there. DeMario Davis is out there. Like, you've got your guys, and you can't stop the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix looked abysmal last night. I was watching the game at LeBear's, and some of these throws, the difficulty level on it looked like when I tossed my son his stuffed animal in the living room. It's like, here, just float it. And he couldn't even do that. There was one drive, first, second, and third down. He had wide open receivers on all three downs, and didn't even come close to hitting him.
The one where he had two guys just completely wide open.
And he split him right in the middle.
Right.
It was that drive.
Yeah.
And then he had another one. He was rolling to his left. The guy was open, and he just spiked it in the ground. And then on third down, he had a guy open in the middle of the field. There was no Saints around him. He still missed. Bo Nix looked awful last night. He was 16 of 26 for 164 yards. But because your defense is completely inept in the running game, it didn't matter. They just plowed ahead. I mean, sadly, I've been covering this team and talking about them, and I knew what they were up against. I went to the window last night at LeBear's and just put $40 down on the Broncos minus 1.5 in the first half. That was a rocking chair cover, 16-6. The Saints didn't even think about getting in the end zone, and the defense, quite frankly, didn't even think about stopping the Broncos. If Nix doesn't spike those 3 balls we're just talking about, they go and score on that drive. Thankfully, the Saints showed some kind of a backbone in the red zone, which triggered Denver having to kick a bunch of field goals. And Will Lutz is going out there and getting booed every time. That kind of surprised me, by the way.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I thought Lutz was decent, but
he got traded, by the way. He didn't just leave.
I know, and I know that he wasn't great at the end. He got a little wobbly there at the end. But
he was hurt.
He had a pretty good go of it for a while for the Saints. They were booing the crap out of him, but it didn't matter. He was knocking him right through the middle of the uprights. I mean, if Denver could finish drives in the red zone, they'd have scored 45, 50 points in this game. And the Saints offense had no answer there. And it's a sad state of where things are now with the New Orleans Saints, because you understand this is not going to get any better. Like, they're going to get a little healthier, but the end is here. Like, Dennis Allen's time as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints is going to end. And you can take the pie chart and allot that blame anywhere you want, from Derek Carr to Mickey Loomis to injuries to age to salary cap. Like, you can allot the pie chart any which way you want and shoulder and dump as much blame in any departments that you want. But the easiest thing to make the change with is the coach. The quarterback is on the books. He is what he is. The salary cap, there's not a lot you can do because you create a bunch of dead money. The general manager is tied into the highest level of the franchise in written documents. That's not changing. There's only one chess piece that gets lifted out. You've tried everything else that can be done. You went to the offensive staff. You gutted it this past year. You put this out there. And look, it looked great for 2 weeks. And then the offensive line went down. And because the offensive line went down, the quarterback went down. And now because of bad luck, the playmakers have gone down. And so that fix hasn't fixed anything. It's a 5-game losing streak. And there is time to come up for oxygen at the end of this schedule. You've still got the Panthers. You still got the Browns. You still got the Rams. You still got the Raiders. Like, you still got the Giants. There are games to be won. But who are we kidding? Like, this gig is up. I thought it was a proper move, an understandable move, to hire Dennis Allen as the head coach in that time. You had an organization that was functioning among the elites of the NFL, and trying to uproot the entire thing felt unnecessary. But you swung and missed on Jameis, and you kind of swung and missed on Derek Carr, and ultimately you've swung and missed with Dennis Allen. And I feel bad for him to a degree because of what's happened in the training room the last month. I feel bad about that. But the proof is the proof. And his baby, the thing that made him the candidate to be in this position, the thing that was supposed to be the backbone of this team, has completely and totally cratered. You couldn't hold a lead late against the Falcons. You couldn't stop the Chiefs from moving the ball. You gave up 51 to Tampa last week, and the Broncos came into town with a bad quarterback and ran it right down your throat. It's over. And sadly, as I look at this, and this will be a discussion for another day, but it doesn't feel like this is fixable in the short term. You've got a lot of restructuring and of the books that has to happen. And this is part of the discussion that we had in the offseason that I did not think that Cam Jordan and Tyrann Mathieu and Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and Derek Carr and Ryan Ramczyk, I did not think those guys would be on the next really good Saints team. And it looked like I was dead wrong after 2 weeks. But now as we reassess with more information, that feels like the case. the Saints don't feel close. They don't feel a quick fix away from getting this done. They feel like an organization in disrepair that has to gut it and kind of start over. And that's a really, really difficult thing to say because the Saints haven't had to do that since Hurricane Katrina. But as you sit here right now, it's very difficult to evaluate it any other way. I told you yesterday, I'm never going to tell someone how to feel. You can't change how you feel. But I can suggest some things to consider. And you have to consider the age of this roster, the state of the salary cap, the quarterback position, the head coach, the brass that's been in charge of putting this all together, and realize that you're just not one or two moves away. You're a long way away. And that was crystallized last night when, for the fifth week in a row, the backbone of your franchise, your defense, just bit the dust. And last thing on last night, because I think it is worth mentioning, and I was listening yesterday to Mike Triplett on Matt Moscona's show after further review. He said, man, isn't it a shame that Drew Brees' night is in this circumstance? And man, was that absolutely true. Because that guy deserves the hero's welcome that he ultimately got, running out of the tunnel, leading the chant, doing the whole thing at halftime. But everybody in that dome is depressed. And maybe you could suggest, oh, that's like a perfect bit of symbolism to like what's happened now that he's been removed from the equation. But more so, like, Drew deserved to go into a fun, raucous, hyped up Thursday night football crowd. And if you could just imagine if the Saints had beaten Philly and then beaten Atlanta and then and all of a sudden you look up and instead of riding a 4-game losing streak, they were 5-1. Man, that place would have been on springs, and that's the welcome back Drew so richly deserved. And for him to go back into a morgue with the carcass of the franchise rotting on the sideline is sad. But that's what the situation was last night. And Beck, I've talked about this a lot. Like, I don't like particularly bashing, and I use air quotes there, the Saints, because I don't feel like I'm in the foxhole with my listeners there. When I come on here and the baseball team starts 3-12, like, I'm right there with you sweating out the entire thing. And I feel like I'm talking with you instead of at you. In this instance, I feel like I'm kind of just beating a dead horse. You come from a little bit more black and gold background than I do. Like, am I out of bounds here?
No, you're not. I mean, at this point, I think most Saints fans are kind of just fed up, and it's not too surprising what's happening. Obviously, with the injuries, with Dennis Allen being the coach that he is, and so at this point, it's just sad, and there's just not a lot of feeling, at least for me right now. I'm just kind of I watched the game, and it went as everyone expected it would. I mean, the Saints were inept on offense; they had no chance on defense, and the defense. I don't think the defense is bad. I think they just quit. I mean, it looked to me like that last touch. I don't know if it was the last touchdown, but one of those last touchdowns they had, the Javonte Williams run in the third quarter. The defense, they showed the replay. DeMario Davis didn't even try to fill the hole. Like, they're just not trying.
And I wasn't there, obviously. I'm in Baton Rouge. I'm at LaBerge. But there was a tweet. It was from either Jeff Duncan or Triple, one of the guys in the press box, that said, like, Alvin Kamara was, like, visibly frustrated, yelling at the sideline.
Yeah.
And, like, I get that, man. You're beat up. You're hurt. You want a new contract. You have no offensive line. You have no quarterback. You have no wide receivers. You have no Taysom. Like, it's 41 or nothing. And, like, that sucks. You're a piñata at that point, just taking the football and getting waylaid by one of the best defenses in the NFL. Man, I get that for Kamara. I stand by the point that I've made dating back to August. Like, I'm not in a hurry for the Saints to go dump a bunch of money in a 31-year-old running back. But I appreciate him for trying, man. That is an awful situation to be in, to know, man, I got to get this ball, and these guys are just going to tee off. And that's the frustration that Kamara's dealing with. I hate it for the Saints. I hate it for Saints fans. There are a lot of discussions that we're going to have moving forward, but the Saints get that mini bye. They've got to get a little bit healthier, and hopefully they can show a little bit of life. But there was just none last night on Thursday Night Football. That's our opening drive presented by Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge. Check out their entire inventory online. It's all there at genesisofbatonrouge.com. All right, our Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish, and Shrimp. When we come back, Preston Guy at TigerBait.com will be with us.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical. Boudreaux'sElectrical.com. Neil, Melissa, been running things for 40 years down there at Boudreaux's Electrical. Every single Generac home standby generator that you get will get a 7 to 10 year warranty, depending on the type of generator that you purchase. And they're not all the same. That's why you have a full-time staffer from Boudreaux's Electrical that comes out and assesses what you're looking for here. How much square footage do you have, whether it's a commercial job, which they can do, or a residential job? What do we need powered in the event of an outage? Do you want the whole meal deal, the whole house going? Or do you just want to make sure some of the essentials are running? That alters your purchase. And when that's done, a full-time staffer is going to come out. They're going to do that installation. They're going to do majority of that underground, with the highest quality in tubing wiring. And it's going to look nice because people take pride in what their house looks like. You don't want to have a big eyesore honking generator out there in the front. You want it subtly put in a nice spot where it will function. And Boudreaux's Electrical will do that for you. You got to give them a call, 985-397-1562, 985-397-1562, 225-300-9389 in Gonzales. That's 300-9389. Or the easy way that I tell you each and every day, Boudreaux'sElectrical.com, Boudreaux'sElectrical.com.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp, government between Foster and Jefferson. Looking for a late lunch? Get on by Corks. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. Craving a po' boy? Friday's always a great time for a po' boy. You're probably not going to be that productive at work on Friday afternoon anyway. You might as well eat way too much. Grab a delicious shrimp po' boy, catfish po' boy. They're fantastic over there at Corks. Also got those crispy shoestring fries. Awesome stuff from the folks over at Corks to bring you our Friday shows each and every week. Head out to Jim's Firearms Hotline. Preston Guy, TigerBait.com is with us. Preston, how we doing?
Hey, Hunt, how's it going? I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm on the LSU beat this week and not a Saints beat.
It's not great. It's really just not. But yeah, the LSU beat is happier for right now. We'll see how things go about 40 hours from right now. All right, Preston, let's go back to Saturday night first. What'd you make of LSU's performance against Ole Miss?
Boy, it's one of those times where it's better to be gritty than pretty. Gutsy performance, particularly from Nussmeier, who played the worst game of his career, completing less than 50% of his passes, multiple interceptions. And he was missing multiple wide receiver targets. So, he had excuses, I guess, but it didn't really matter because when it mattered, he turned it on. And even when he put together that game-winning drive, in the last drive of the game there, he still went 4 of 11 on that drive.
Yeah.
But made the throws when he absolutely had to. And frankly, he made low percentage plays. So just a performance to be remembered for a long time. I certainly will remember it myself. It's always fun when you're on the field and you get stormed on and you're just trying to do your job, and next thing you know, you're surrounded by thousands of people. So it was an atmosphere to be remembered, probably top 5 of my lifetime that I can recall.
Nussmeier's turnovers a concern to you?
Yeah, I'll say this. I think he's only had turnovers in 3 games, but he is averaging, or I guess 4 games. I'm trying to think. He had 1 other interception. So he's averaging a pick a game right now. And that is concerning. Some of them, like the pick against USC, is not very concerning. And I think I remember another pick that wasn't too concerning. So, sometimes interceptions happen, especially if you're in desperation situations. But then there's some boneheaded plays, he threw a check down to the running back against Ole Miss this weekend, and he just had no business making that throw. He should have just thrown it away or taken the sack instead of taking a low percentage play like that. So a little bit, but it's not like he doesn't have a ton of productivity to accompany it. I would say that part of Nussmeier's deal is that there could be a big game where he throws an interception that really costs you the game. But you're going to you just need enough productivity to offset it, and I don't think it's too wildly concerning. But a pick a game, he does need to get that down a little bit. I would like to see him finish with 10 or less picks this year.
Defensive side of the ball against Ole Miss didn't allow a touchdown in the second half or overtime. Where's the biggest improvement that they're making?
The defensive line is absolutely night and day difference. And the crazy part about it is these are a lot of the same players we saw play abysmally a year ago. You look at Braden Swinson. He was a non-factor on this defense, and when he was out there, he wasn't great. Now he's looking like an all-SEC player. So, bar none, it's definitely that defensive line. And, Mike Baker called the game of his life against Ole Miss, an elite offensive unit. And, I don't think these guys I don't think there's a bunch of NFL players running around on this defense. I think that this is mostly a defense that, their first 2 staffs didn't do a great job of recruiting and maintaining a solid roster of guys. And, a lot of their best players, Harold Perkins and Jacoby Guillory, they're hurt. So great job of Blake Baker turning this defense around. Those corners play. Zai Alexander played the game of his life.
Yeah.
And again, we saw him last year not play that much better. So I guess last week the biggest improvement would have been your defensive backs if we're talking about from game to game, but if we're talking year to year, it's definitely your defensive line.
Does the spot concern you here? Hogs off a bye, you're off a emotional win. And what do you make of LSU's ability to respond to that?
Sure, and the Hogs are also still on a high after beating Tennessee, so they believe in themselves. So That's a tough spot to be in. And, quietly, you're looking at the schedule for next week across the country. It's very possible that, Lee Corso and the game day crew pack it up and end up in College Station next week. It's very plausible. So, with a game of that magnitude staring down at you, especially considering if LSU can pull that win at Texas A&M, LSU's now all of a sudden in the driver's seat to make the playoffs. Because even if they lose to Alabama, you take care of business on this schedule with your winnable games, you're in the playoffs. So you best believe that game's in the back of the coaching staff and players' minds. So it's a scary game. Looks like Taylon Green will be healthy, and you know what kind of dynamic weapon he is. And this Arkansas team is no joke. I would say LSU's in for a dogfight this weekend.
Yeah, when you watch Arkansas play this Bobby Petrino offense with Taylon Green at quarterback, kind of what they do, what do you think Blake Baker is going to attempt to accomplish in the game on Saturday?
Hopefully a spy. We'll see. Taylor, what's that?
Weeks?
That's the thing. I don't even know who your spy is, because this is a week where you really would want Harold Perkins down, out there. But I hope somehow, some way, they've got a guy. I guess Weeks. I think
Weeks and Major Burns are probably your two candidates.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah, Major Burns. But the problem is he plays on the outside, and you can't. You'd have to slide him inside mid-play to really get a true QB contain on him. I guess you could play him on the wide side of the field and just have him contain that part. There's a lot of different things, but I like the idea of a Major Burns doing that, doing some contain, because he certainly has the speed to keep up. But we'll see, man. If I've learned anything from watching Blake Baker's defense, it's that he's going to throw some curveballs at you. He's going to have some interesting scheme. You're not just going to sit back and cover three and let him pick you apart like a certain coach did last year, who is still, by the way, he's still getting dunked on Twitter every single day by former coaches and players.
Look, I'll just comment on that. I realize there's some hypocrisy here because I'm kind of doing the same thing. But that tweet by Jamar Cain last night came off like a freshman in high school. He's bashing Matt House on Twitter over beating the Saints backups. Like, grow up, man. Got to grow up.
Hey, man, he clearly was looking to find a shot there. My point is more so not even that it was a valid dunk or not. It's just how much public disrespect we've seen from Matt House. And the coaches talk about what a brilliant scheme guy he is, and I think it goes to show you doesn't matter how great your scheme is if you don't have a group of men around you willing to buy in and believe in your leadership. It means nothing. And clearly, I cannot remember a coach getting fired from LSU that a lot of guys are like, well, it didn't work out or whatever. I liked him, but I haven't seen anybody come out and say, yeah, I love Matt House. Too bad it didn't work out. It is just straight up guys looking to dunk on him in every direction right now. So whether it's valid shots or not, it's uncanny to see this many shots. And look, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you can remember a coach at LSU where players and people in the room with him take a chance to dunk on him after the fact. But
no,
I
can't. I know that Pelini's departure wasn't awesome, but it was not near this level.
No, right, yeah.
Do you think LSU wins tomorrow?
I think LSU finds itself down early, as is the signature of this era, and I think we see some late adjustments, and I think LSU does come away with the win, and we get our big date in College Station next week.
It'll be absolutely massive. Got picks on Bama, Tennessee, and Georgia, Texas while I got you?
Let's see, Bama, Tennessee.
In Knoxville.
Look, I'm going to go with the Vols here because the last couple times I've seen Bama, not so great. But that being said, Tennessee's not exactly a great football team in and of themselves, so it could go either way. What was the other game you asked about?
Georgia heading to Austin.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Longhorns on that one. That's the one football team that looks the most complete in the country. So I'll go with the Longhorns, and I'll go with the Vols. We'll go UT and UT for the win.
That would mean 2 losses for Georgia and Alabama in the middle of October, which would be a little change of pace. Wrestling Guy, TigerBait.com. You can find all your LSU football coverage there. And his Monday show on YouTube each and every night. He's with us on Fridays. Have a great weekend, Preston. Thanks.
You too, Hunt.
Let's get you set for the NFL schedule to come. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Make LeBear's Baton Rouge your game day headquarters this entire season, but maybe this entire weekend. LSU is on the road. You're not headed to Tiger Stadium. Go watch the Tigers at LeBear's. Saints don't play. You don't have to watch that. Go watch the NFL slate and some baseball like we did last night at LeBear's inside ESPN Bet. They got huge screens. They put multiple games on all the screens, and you can bet and dine right there at ESPN Bet in person. Plus, you've got time this week. Download the Cover 5 app and enter the SEC contest. You put the code in, LABRSEC24. I put my picks in this morning. You pick 5 SEC games. You get points based on how much your teams cover by. It's a ton of fun, and you can win season-long and weekly prizes. If you're not a member, get that Penn Play app today. LeBear's Baton Rouge, your live sports headquarters. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 for help.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Chugging along here on a Friday. Love those drops for Quirks with that grease. Just sounds fantastic. Check out the menu, corksfishandshrimp.com. I always tell you on Fridays, if you're looking to feed the office at any point, whether you're having like a lunch and learn or have a conference or meeting, just want to be nice and feed the office. Quirks does a great job with catering. They can handle your bulk orders. Just got to give them a little bit of notice, and they will make sure you are taking care of all the fried shrimp and catfish that you need from our friends over at Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp. I got some stats for LSU and Arkansas that we haven't gotten to yet. We haven't really talked about that game, me personally, today, because we had to lead with the horrendous Saints. But we'll talk about LSU and Arkansas coming up in the next segment. We got my SEC picks against the number coming up in about 25 minutes. So still plenty to do here on this Football Friday. But right now, let's set the table for the National Football League. You know how it works. We start in Tier 4. There's a couple Tier 4 games that are stinky this week. The first one is in London. Patriots at the Jaguars. Drake May against the worst passing defense in the NFL. That, of course, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. If they're going to move the Jags to London, they need to start playing better in London. They're 1-3 in London at this point.
I watched a highlight from last week. The Jaguars pass catchers dropped 4 touchdown passes. Like in the end zone, they dropped the passes.
Sounds like third grade recess for the Jags. How early do Jags fans have to crack open that first Busch Light tomorrow? Like 5 a.m.?
Yeah, I think 4:30 or 5.
Woo! Go get them, Jags. London. All right, Raiders are at Rams. These two teams are bad, too. There's still a lot of Raider fans in Los Angeles. They were there from 82 to 94, so sounds like the Raiders will have more fans than the Rams at this game. Brock Bowers, shout out Brock Bowers, on my fantasy team, leads NFL tight ends in catches and yards. The Raiders are 31st in rushing offense. The Rams are 32nd in run defense. Bad on bad, baby. Let's see it out there in L.A. All right, Tier 3, a little bit better, but still not great. The Titans are at the Bills. The Titans lead the NFL in yards per game allowed, only 248.8 yards per game. That's the third fewest through 5 games since 1976. Play some defense, Tennessee. Bengals are at the Browns. The Bengals never beat the Browns. The Browns are terrible. The Bengals still never beat the Browns. Why? Because Myles Garrett owns Joe Burrow. He has 8 sacks against Burrow. That's the most of any active player. And he's hit him 16 times. That's twice as many as anybody else in the league. Look, all 6 Brown games have gone under. This will probably go under because the Bengals can't score against the Browns. The Dolphins are at the Colts. Miami has scored 60 points this year. That is 12 points per game. Colts have played well. They're 5-1 against the spread. They're 3-0 against the spread at home. I like them again to cover on Sunday. The Eagles are at the Giants, NFC East game. Giants have the second worst run defense in the NFL. Who's showing up? Old pal Saquon going to be in MetLife once again. I think the Eagles are going to run all over the New York Giants. Panthers are at the Commanders. This might be a Tier 4 game, but I'm not putting Jaden in Tier 4. Come on. The Panthers are 29th in the NFL in total defense. They're 30th in run defense. They're 32nd, dead last in points per game allowed. It's time to eat JD5. Jaden's 70-plus quarterback rating in 4 straight games is the second longest streak in QBR since they made it for rookies. That's back in 2006. Matt Ryan had 6 in a row. It's been 4 for Jaden Daniels. All right, the good stuff. Into Tier 2, the Seahawks are at Atlanta. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier kind of busted out last week. They ran for over 200 yards combined. Seattle allows the 5th most rushing yards in the NFL. Atlanta is certainly a threat to win the NFC South there at home against Seattle. The Chiefs are at the 49ers. This should be Tier 1, but San Francisco's not winning games. Kansas City is, but barely. They're 5-0, and they've won by a total of 33 points. That's an average of just over 6 a game. That's the lowest differential in a 5-0 team since the 2004 Jets. Speaking of the Jets, they are at the Steelers. Devontae Adams' debut. The Jets have 113 points through 6 games there in Rodgers at quarterback. 113 in 6 games. You know how many points they had with Zach Wilson last year in 6 games? 113, the exact same output with Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't thrown for 300 yards in 28 straight games. I don't think they got the old Aaron Rodgers in there in New Orleans. In New York, they got the old Aaron Rodgers. And then Tier 1, the best football of Sunday. The Texans are at the Packers. The NFC North is good, y'all. They are 17-3 against the spread outside the division this year. The Texans, meanwhile, are really good on defense because they've drafted SEC studs. Will Anderson's got 5.5 sacks. Henry To'oTo'o has been awesome for them, and Derek Stingley's played great out wide. The Texans shopping in the SEC. It's paying off for them. The Lions are at the Vikings, another huge game in the NFC North. Justin Jefferson has 1,073 yards in 8 games against the Detroit Lions. That's the most in NFL history through 8 games against one single opponent. The Vikings 5-0 against the spread, and overall, they would be the first team to go 6-0 overall and against the spread through 6 weeks since 2009. That is your look at the NFL slate. Beck, what'd you like there? I think I'm interested in this Texans and Packers game. Young quarterbacks that I think are going to be good for some time to come. And the Texans are really good on defense. That's, I think, the game of the day to me.
Yeah, I agree. I do think, though, that The Panthers just have to be in Tier 4 no matter who's playing them. I mean, there's just
I can't put Jaden in Tier 4.
Okay,
we're talking about what to watch. You got to watch Jaden here.
They're 10-point favorites in the NFL. That never happens.
Do we trust the Commanders?
Yes.
We do?
Yes.
I haven't trusted the Commanders my entire life.
Well, you can trust
nor
them
the
now.
football team, nor the Redskins.
I think you can trust them now.
I trust Jaden.
You should.
I mean, look, I can't. If you're talking about pure entertainment value, I gotta take them into Tier 3. Should the Titans and Bills have been up a tier? Like the Titans have a really good defense, and Josh Allen's awesome. I put them in Tier 3.
Will Levis is just an absolute joke, though. I mean, every single week he does something.
There's a great internet. There's a Twitter.
Yes.
There's a Twitter theme that's going on. It's like, how does Will Levis keep getting opportunities? He's never been good. He wasn't good in high school. He wasn't good at his first college job. He wasn't good at Kentucky. He keeps going in the first round. Then he's a starter. He's never good. How did we become good?
Last year, so I didn't really follow the Titans a lot last year, but I did see some people on Twitter talking about last year Will Levis wasn't good, but he wasn't as bad as he is this year. I don't know what happened, but for some reason he's even worse than he was last year. Doesn't make any sense.
Speaking of the Titans, Vrabel's available. Is that who the Saints need to hire?
Mike Vrabel. I don't know, man.
Or do you have to go hire some young gun off the Shanahan tree?
Probably, yeah. Or I know the offense hasn't been good the last 3 or 4 weeks, but people after the first 2 weeks, they were always like, "Oh, let's just elevate Clint Kubiak to head coach." I'm like, I'm not sure about that, but I can't really blame him for the problems the offense has been having. I will say that he doesn't seem to really be adjusting much in the second half to what the defenses are doing, but I wouldn't be mad at Clint Kubiak being the next head coach of the Saints.
I mean, I don't know about that, man.
There's probably obviously there's other options out there. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it a lot yet.
What about Bill Belichick?
That's what. Actually, it's really funny you say that because my friends were like, "Oh yeah, let's go get Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and bring him to the Saints. Bring Tom Brady out of retirement, Bill Belichick."
That's the Dr. Eagle voice. How about no?
Yeah,
I just no interest in a 70-plus-year-old head coach. But here we are. That's your look at the National Football League. We got one segment to go here in hour number 1. I went and found a bunch of statistics thanks to Arkansas's game notes and an article I found of Best of Arkansas Sports, and a couple of them are really compelling to break down this game coming up on Saturday in D.W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, which, by the way, I was looking up D.W. Reynolds for Twitter for trivia on Tuesday. Didn't go to Arkansas.
Really?
Just had $1 bajillion and donated a lot to a lot of different places, all in the Tulsa, Fayetteville, Missouri areas, and Arkansas named their stadium after me. It wasn't even a booster.
That tracks. I think. I mean, what are you gonna do if a guy gives you a $1 jillion? You got to name a stadium after him.
That brings up another bad point. We're at this era where they're just trying to constantly find ways to create money.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go into? Are we gonna call Tiger Stadium
I don't think. I think
you're going to sell the naming rights.
No,
there?
I think with the stadiums like Tiger Stadium, I think those are too sacred to change.
Oh, you think sacred? The Cubs wear freaking navy blue, and they got Motorola on their logo.
The navy blue thing.
Nobody cares about tradition. We're in icy whites.
It's
tomorrow.
on the sleeve, hon. Okay, and the Wrigley thing. They're not changing Wrigley Field's name. I can tell you that.
Geico Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday night in Geico Stadium, and here come your Fighting Tigers. That's where we're headed. You got to pay everybody. You got to find a way to get money.
It wouldn't be Geico. Who would it be? It would be some maybe. I don't know if a local team would have enough money for a local.
You're gonna take Canes off the River Center and put it on Tiger Stadium.
The Raising Cane Stadium.
Saturday night in the Cane Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh God, just go to break.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. Love telling you about my friends at Genesis of Baton Rouge. When you think Genesis, you should think luxury. It is absolutely a luxury line of vehicles. It's an experience to go and purchase a Genesis. You're going to feel like a guest at the dealership, not necessarily a customer. It's a pressure-free sales experience. You're going to deal with one of their brand ambassadors that are going to help you get you into the Genesis that best fits your need. They've got the sedans all the way up to the SUVs. They drive incredibly well. Safety features are exceptional, and all of the cars in the line have the same safety features. They don't skimp on safety on any of the line of Genesis vehicles. And the sales and buying experience is so easy. You never even have to set foot in the dealership. They'll bring the car to you to test drive. They can do digital delivery with e-contracts. If you're intimidated by stepping foot on a dealership lot, then don't. Call Genesis of Baton Rouge and say, hey, I'd like to look at a car, they'll bring it to you. You can test drive it. If you decide that's the one for you, they'll bring it to you. You can digitally sign. Easy as could possibly be, and every single purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Every car on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. That's genesisofbatonrouge.com. Go see them, Airline and Piku, Genesis of Baton Rouge.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
The only thing scary about the deals at Bayou Ford is if you miss out on them, like $15,000 off F-150. Bayou Ford has $15,000 off Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Hour one here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your Friday is going awesome. Hope that work week is in the rearview mirror. If not, we will get you to the finish line here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Yesterday we had Andrew Hutchison on, Best of Arkansas Sports. Does a great job covering the Razorbacks. We talked to him before basketball games and baseball weekends as well. And there's a story up on their site that I read through and printed out. He actually didn't write it. Adam Ford wrote it for the site. There's some really good statistics in the breakdown of the game. I invite you to go check it out and read it. But just a couple that I wanted to run through and kind of give my thoughts on how they impact the game. He writes that Garrett Nussmeier gets the ball out of his hands on an average of 2.6 seconds. That is the second fastest in the SEC behind Quinn Ewers. So that's also part of LSU's sack number situation, is that they're a decisive offense and a quick passing offense. And I think a lot of that is because LSU doesn't run the ball very well, so you've got to create those manageable third downs. You stay ahead of the change by making sure that you get the ball out quickly. Now, keep in mind, LSU did stretch the field a lot against Ole Miss. They threw a ton of balls that traveled 15-plus yards, I think 27 of them on Saturday night. So that was a little bit different, but we'll see what they decide to do tonight. I was interested to see that statistic. Braden Swinson we all know, and we all have seen how dominant he's been all season long. He's got 7 sacks and 23 pressures. Both of those lead all SEC rushers. He wins at a pass rush rate of 34%. That's 4th in the conference. But here's something that I would not have known were it not for this article. I got you on Swinson. I pretty much understand how good he's been. But Arkansas's right tackle is Keyshawn Blackstock. He's allowed 24 pressures this year. That is the most on Arkansas's offensive line. Now, that's not shocking that the right tackle has allowed the most on the offensive line. He doesn't have help. Generally speaking, right tackles are not quite as good as left tackles. So, that's not a shocking stat, but that's where Swinson lines up most of the time. They do move him a little bit, and he will come off the offensive right side, but he does spend a lot of time on the right tackle. And I think that's interesting that Blackstock has struggled at times this year, and that could be a spot that LSU could really make some hay there with Swinson. Zy Alexander is another player that Ford highlighted in this article. Opponents have targeted him 17 times this season. They're only 6 of 17 for 32 yards. He's also got a pair of interceptions and 2 pass breakups. He has played 30 snaps of man-to-man coverage this season. Guess how many in 30 snaps of man-to-man coverage? Guess how many completions?
15.
0. Not a single completion in man-to-man coverage against Zy Alexander this year. I thought that was an incredible statistic. I think he changes LSU's defense a little bit. No one here is confusing Zy Alexander with Patrick Peterson or Morris Claiborne or Derek Stingley. We're not putting him up for the Thorpe Award. He's not Tyrann Mathieu. We get it. But he's better than the other guys LSU has at corner. And when he plays corner, 1, he improves you at corner. 2, he gets Sage Ryan off of corner back to safety where he's a better player. That brings Major Burns up to star where he played great last week. And so you all of a sudden start to put the blocks in the proper places once Zy Alexander returns. When he's out, everything's out of whack. You get worse at corner, you get worse at safety. He makes LSU a little bit better. And I think LSU's secondary is going to be asked to play Arkansas pretty much straight up because LSU needs to spend some time trying to stop the run. Andrew Armstrong's been really good for Arkansas. He's 2nd in the SEC in catches behind Trey Harris. He's 2nd in receptions per game and receiving yards per game. He missed the season opener when they beat Pine Bluff by $1 billion, but he's come back ever since and been very good. That's a guy that Zy Alexander will probably spend some time with, but LSU has got to concern itself with Jaquindon Jackson and Taylon Green on the ground first. So you're going to have to ask your corners to go play Isaiah Satania and Andrew Armstrong pretty much head up the whole day. Now, Taylon Green hits some and misses some, and that's part of the game you play, but you can't allow him to sit there and run the football. The other statistic I think absolutely bears mentioning is the red zone, where Arkansas has been putrid. They are dead last in the SEC in red zone offense. They're only scoring 76% of the time. Their touchdown percentage is far worse than that. That Arkansas has moved the football. You look at total offense in terms of the SEC, they've been very good. They're 3rd in the league. You look at third down conversions, they're very good. They're first. They sustain drives. They stay ahead of the chains. They get into the red zone and they bog down. My contention as to why is because Taylon Green is probably not very comfortable making those tight window throws. And all of a sudden, this field's not as spread. And he's not able to run quite as much as he would like. And they've just bogged down in the red zone. And that's a big, big deal because I don't expect LSU to go up there to Fayetteville and all of a sudden throw the clamps on Arkansas and hold them to 13 points on 298 yards of offense. I'm not there with this defense. I think they're going to play well, but they've got to keep the points to a minimum while the yardage kind of stays up. And they did that against Ole Miss, and they've got to do it again against Arkansas. And if trends hold and Arkansas plays the way they've played most of the year, the LSU will be in pretty good shape because Arkansas had struggled mightily once they've gotten into the red zone, converting that into touchdowns. So to me, those are some very, very interesting stats. Garrett Nussmeier is as good as anybody in the country and getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Braden Swinson likely lined up a lot of the night against Arkansas's worst offensive lineman. Arkansas's red zone offense has been very, very poor. And then Andrew Armstrong has had a really good go of it this year as a wide receiver in LSU with Zy Alexander, and the way he's played are going to have to deal with him pretty much head up most of the evening. We're going to talk a little bit later, and especially when I pick the game, about this spot for LSU and how well that they'll respond. I'll tell you this as we close up hour number 1. In talking to the players on Tuesday, they said all the right things, and they kind of had the vibe that they understood that assignment. We talked to Josh Williams, who's been around and seen it all. We talked to Braden Swinson, who's quite frankly been around and seen it all. They'll get those guys ready to go, and I just don't know that Garrett Nussmeier is going to have much of a mental lull. He's a pretty mature dude. He's an old player. He's a son of a coach. Like, he's going to be ready to go on Saturday night as well. It's a tough spot for LSU. There's no doubt. But you have to like the matchup at this point. I didn't like the matchup last week. I picked against LSU, and obviously we know how that went, but we like the spot for LSU. Those roles change this week. I love the matchup. I don't love the spot for LSU, so we'll talk about it in hour number 2. If you missed any of hour number 1, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can find us. Check out our YouTube channels, Hunt on LSU and Hunt on Saints, for all your LSU and Saints coverage all year long. If you subscribe to those channels, we certainly do appreciate it. Kicked off the show doing some Saints. Preston Guy was with us. We got you ready for the NFL weekend to come, and did some stats on LSU and Arkansas. When we come back after SportsCenter, time for some SEC picks against the spread. Can I stay hot? We're going to try to do it. Hour 2 coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, if you just locked in a great interest rate a couple of years ago and you're not in a hurry to move because you like paying your 3% and not looking to pay 6% at the moment, that's okay. That doesn't mean you can't improve your living situation with a custom closet or a brand new bathroom. If you want to do the full meal deal, brand new bathroom, floors, showers, the whole deal, they can do it at One Bath and Closets. If you want to do something simple like a tub to shower conversion, they do those all the time. Take out that old dingy tub that you never even use. Put a gorgeous glass walk-in shower. If you want to know what that looks like, go to their Instagrams, One Bath and Closets. You can see pictures of David Duvall's great work. You can see testimonials from their satisfied customers and get that free consultation online. I tell you about it every single day. They're at OneBathAndClosets.com, OneBathAndClosets.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2024 Ram 1500 truck for only $32,898. $32,898 for a new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Dodgers are one win away from a trip to the World Series. Game 5 of the NLCS in New York today, with the Mets trailing 3-1 and hoping to push the series back to Los Angeles. Coverage starts at 4:30 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. Later tonight, Game 4 of the ALCS in Cleveland after an epic Game 3. Well, epic unless you're a closer. ESPN's Buster Olney.
Which relievers can pick themselves up from the rubble of last night, right? Emmanuel Clase is the best closer in baseball, the Cleveland closer. And think about his postseason so far, Ryan. He's allowed 3 home runs. They were either game-tying or go-ahead home runs.
Buster Olney. The same applies for Yankees closer Luke Weaver. Coverage of Game 4 starts at 7:30 Eastern, also on ESPN Radio. New York leads the series 2-1. Virginia basketball coach Tony Bennett officially announcing his retirement today, saying the current environment in college sports, including NIL and the transfer portal, led to his decision.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Monday. His teammates think Lamar Jackson could win MVP, but I'll tell you why I agree with them. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Waiting to rise again.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Corks, Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Fired up, you are with us. One more hour to go for us, and then we are off. But have no fear, we're back tomorrow for LSU football. Of course, Tigers and Razorbacks tomorrow, 6 o'clock from Razorback Stadium up in Fayetteville. That means our coverage here under the Guarantee Roof starts at 5 o'clock. It'll be Charles Handegriff and Matt Musso with Eagle 98.1 Game Day, 1 o'clock at Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee. That'll lead up to pregame. 4 o'clock, that's me on the LSU Sports Radio Network, myself. Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite with you from Tiger Stadium for 90 minutes. Then we'll toss it to the broadcast team of Gordy Rush, Jacob Hester, and Chris Blair. Those guys will have the call of the game, and 30 minutes after the game, Fighting Tiger post-game report on the network for about an hour, and then 90 minutes after it goes final, right here inside the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it'll be Charles Handegriff and Richard Dixon for Eagle 98.1 Game Day's post-game show, taking your calls for a couple of hours. So full day starting at 1 o'clock until well after 1 in the morning as LSU and Arkansas get things rolling tomorrow. All right, Beck, are you willing to say that I am scalding hot right now?
No.
I'm 9-3 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but
that's sizzling.
Well, okay, it is. It's good, but the only reason is because you actually went with the Costanza picks 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you said that was an asset last week, and now you're bashing me.
Okay, it was, but you didn't do it last week. You got to keep going, Hunt. That's the problem. Because if you had, you would have been 5-1 last week. That you really would have been on a heater at that point.
I'm 9-3 over the last 2 weeks. That is white hot. I am on fire. Like NBA Jam style, corner threes.
Not by your own doing,
baseline leaner. All right, let's do it. Week 8.
Now I'm on looking at the record.
Oh my gosh!
It's gonna take a second.
Oh my gosh, Beck! I was ready to go. We're stumbling out of the blocks. All right, 11 o'clock start. Auburn and Missouri. Missouri is a 4-point favorite at home on Faurot Field. Auburn is 7th in the SEC in total offense, which is not terrible. They're 10th in total defense, which is like fine. Alabama statistically is worse in both of those categories than Auburn, yet Auburn can't win a league game. Peyton Thorne has been productive, little INT happy. Here's my analysis of this game. Missouri is trash. Trash team. Trash shouldn't be in the conference. Overachieved last year. They stink. I'm catching 4 points. I got the better team. I'm on Auburn on the road catching 4. South Carolina's at Oklahoma. I was shocked when I saw this line.
Stinky.
South Carolina's favored by a point in this game in Norman.
Very stinky.
Oklahoma is 15th in scoring offense in the SEC. 16 teams, second to last. They're the worst pass offense, the worst rush offense, and the worst total offense. They cannot move the ball. Now, Oklahoma's scoring defense, you'll think, well, they got a great defense. Not really. It's 8th in the league. Their run defense is 9th in the league. Lenoris Sellers, is he good? No. Is Oklahoma good? No. I'll take the Gamecocks on the road. Whatever. I'm laying a point there. Third Saturday in October means it's South Carolina. Not the game before that. Means it's Alabama and Tennessee. The Vols are catching 3 at home. It is wild to me that I'm sitting here telling you about an Josh Heupel offense that can't move the ball and a Bama defense that can't stop anybody. It's supposed to be the opposite of that. Tennessee scored 25 on Oklahoma, 14 on Arkansas, and 23 on Florida in overtime. That's not good. Now, Bama gave up 34 to Georgia, gave up 40 to Vandy, and gave up 25 at home to South Carolina last week. The environment's going to be incredible in Neyland Stadium on the Tennessee River there. I don't love this pick, but I'll take the points. Give me the Vols +3 here against Bama. Again, I don't love that pick, but we're going to go ahead and take it. Texas A&M is at Mississippi State. A&M's playing great. They dropped the opener Notre Dame, couldn't score, couldn't get the ball moving, but since they've been really good. They annihilated Florida, they annihilated Missouri. Now they go on the road to Starkville, and we all know that Mississippi State's the worst team in the league. They're 16th in every power rankings I do. They don't have good players. They don't win games. They're not good. Michael Van Buren, the true freshman quarterback, did throw for 306 in Athens last week.
They've covered the last 2 weeks against really good teams.
And what Connor Wigman shows up? The Notre Dame version or the guy we saw against Missouri? That kind of matters. I'm not sure. Texas A&M is probably thinking about LSU already. I get 18 points with Mississippi State.
I like where you're headed here, Hunt.
I'm taking the Bulldogs.
Yeah,
Clang a baby.
there we
Start
go.
Bull. All right, give me some Little Dewey barbecue. I'll take Mississippi State plus the 18. Ball State and Vanderbilt in Nashville. I had to do some research on Ball State. The only thing I know about Ball State is that David Letterman went there. So I had to look at their football team. They're 133rd out of 134 in scoring defense.
They're
the
really
only
bad.
team worse than them in scoring defense is Kent State, who they played last week. They're 111th against the run, and we know that Vandy loves to run the football. But I can't believe I'm saying this. Could this be a letdown spot for Vandy? Can Vandy have a letdown spot? They beat Bama. They go on the road to play Kentucky.
I don't think they're going to make the same mistake they did against Georgia State.
They're
I
laying
really
27 here.
That's a lot of points.
I'm taking Ball State plus the 27. Vandy letdown. Too many pops on Broadway for Pavia and the folks. All right, give me Ball State. All right, 6 o'clock, the big one. Georgia at Texas. Longhorns favored by 4.5. Georgia is 7th in the SEC in scoring defense. That's a mouthful. They're 6th in the SEC in pass defense. They're 10th in the league in run defense. This is just not the same Georgia defense we have seen. Texas throws it great. The stadium's going to be electric in Austin, no question. I got burned on this with Georgia going to Bama. But I have a hard time turning down Georgia and 4 points. You give me 4.5 points with Georgia, I'll take the Dogs plus 4.5. And the last one, SEC Network, Kentucky is at Florida. We're on buyout watch with Napier. We've been there for a while, but we're certainly there as Kentucky comes to Florida. You can't lose at home to a team that just lost to Vanderbilt at home. That's just the rules. DJ Lagway will play for Billy Napier's Florida Gators. No Graham Mertz the rest of the way. Kentucky is 3rd in the conference in run defense and total defense. They are pretty good up front. Vanderbilt beat them, but it was because Kentucky's offense couldn't do anything. I think Kentucky wins the line of scrimmage in this game. Florida got beat up by a couple teams, including Texas A&M. I will take Kentucky minus the 1.5 in the Swamp in Gainesville. So my SEC selections for the day: Auburn getting 4 at Missouri. South Carolina laying 1 in Norman. Tennessee getting 3 points against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Give me the Bulldogs clanging to cover 18 against Texas A&M at home. The Ball State Cardinals plus 27 in Nashville. Georgia catching 4.5 in Austin. And then Kentucky laying 1.5 at the Swamp. Beck, is that or is that not a perfect week of selection?
I actually do think it is a perfect week of selections, Son. I really do.
That makes me feel very uneasy.
I don't disagree with any of your picks, really. The only one that I'm a little hesitant is the Ball State Vanderbilt. 27 points is a lot. But look, Vanderbilt scored 40 on Alabama. If they can score 40 on Alabama, I think they may be able to beat Ball State by 27.
I'm counting on them being still drunk from Friday. Just out at all the bars, singing more Wallen songs, just not a care in the world.
That's a good thought, and it's probably accurate.
Here's a prediction. Diego Pavia, first interception of the year, Ball State, worst defense in the country.
Wow. They are playing at night, though, so it's not like an early game. It's not going to be. They're not going to be walking in sleepy. At least they'll be pretty ready for this one, I think. And I mean, it could be a look-ahead spot to next week as well.
Look-ahead spot for the Doors.
They're so
cocky these days.
It is.
You're just feeling the Doors. You liked that Mississippi State pick, didn't you?
I do. I really like that Mississippi State pick. I love it a lot. They've covered the last 2 weeks, man. They've covered the last 2 weeks against really good teams.
Scored 31 on Georgia.
Yeah.
Coach Elko going in there thinking about, I mean, we heard Preston Guy in the first hour saying game day might come for the second time for LSU.
The craziest thing, though, is the fact that they were 38-point underdogs against Texas. I mean, that is just an absurd line.
And
for
they were down like a
conference game.
touchdown at halftime.
Yeah, that was for me, that was pretty easy to do that one. But then last week, even that,
I think I had Texas in that game.
Yeah, I think you did too. that was the week before Costanza, I think.
Yeah, we're talking about a 1-4 week there.
Yeah,
that
hurts
tough. Morale.
And then you finally realized the error of your ways.
That's my picks against the number in SEC action. We will certainly grade all of them coming up on Monday's show. It's a good menu of games to watch if you're an LSU fan.
It is.
I'm interested in Auburn, Missouri. Like I like my pick there. I think Auburn's going to win that game. South Carolina, Oklahoma is weirdly good, and then you got Bama and Tennessee kind of leading up into LSU, which should be a great one. If you want to flip over to Mississippi State covering against A&M, you can do that. I would highly recommend you not going dual televisions for LSU and Arkansas as well as Ball State and Vandy. But if you want to turn on Georgia and Texas, 6:30 on ABC. Night game is Kentucky at Florida. That one starts 45 minutes after LSU starts. So maybe when I'm on the post-game show, that one will be fired up. We got a brand new studio with a nice little television in there.
Yeah.
In the old studio, the television kind of tucked in the corner.
Not a great spot.
I had to crane my neck to see it. Now it's just right there front and center. So that's where we watched Bama and Georgia when we were getting ready to roll. So, all right, that's it for SEC picks against the number today. When we come back, let's talk some LSU and Arkansas. Talk about this spot for LSU, how they're going to handle it, and then some more keys to the game. My pick is coming up in about 40 minutes. Come back with more. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is the website. I always enjoy my discussions with Jonathan Carbo on the insurance side of things, kind of talking my former shop. And one of the things that he said, and that I think is really important in the insurance game, is it the trust that a business owner has with his insurance broker. I think a lot of times insurance brokers are given the kind of slimy salesman moniker, and you're looking to undercut on price and win here and there. But the truth is, if you've got a good broker, you've got someone on your team that you can trust. They're very akin to attorneys or a CPA. They're part of the team to make that engine go, because you don't think about insurance until you need it. And when you need it, it could be too late. Get out in front of that with your insurance broker. Call Jonathan Carver and his team and make sure that your commercial policies are correct. I've read through insurance policies for 7 years. There are a lot of issues that can arise. If you haven't looked through all of your exclusions, haven't looked through all the amendments to your policy, you need someone to do it. Jonathan Carver and his team are happy to help you with all of that. Check them out at HighlandIG.com if you need employee and group benefits as well. They can help you with that. It can be your one-stop shop for all things insurance. They're right here in Baton Rouge, but you don't have to be in Baton Rouge to use the Highland Insurance Group. They can help you wherever you may be. Go online, check them out at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Corks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Hockey is back in Baton Rouge. The Baton Rouge Zydeco, they opened the season last night against the Biloxi Seawolves. Got a big 9-1 win. The season opener.
9-1?
9-1 in hockey, correct. It was an absolute massacre. The Zydeco looking to be a pretty stout team this year. They retooled a little bit. Last year they were pretty bad, but this year looking pretty good so far. And they're going to be playing at the Raising Cane's River Center. Register at 1045ESPN.com for your chance to win tickets to the next few games they have over this opening weekend. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit RaisingCanesRiverCenter.com.
You're going to have to give me the name of that opponent for the Zydeco last night.
The Biloxi Seawolves.
Who's their defensive coordinator?
They don't have a defensive coordinator in hockey.
Who's their goaltender, the netminder?
Yeah.
He's out of here. 9?
It's the first game, Hunt. But the Seawolves are pretty bad.
I mean, how many would they have scored if I was playing goalie?
Well, I don't know.
The goal's like this big. It's barely bigger than a person.
Wow.
Just get in the way.
Yeah, it's so simple, huh? I mean, yeah, you should do it then.
I mean,
so
I'm gonna
easy.
Pass. I'm a little busy, but
Yeah.
we're potty training. I can't be playing goalie for the who? The Biloxi who?
The Biloxi Seawolves.
The Seawolves.
Yeah.
Brings back Stony Brook vibes. I don't like that
They
whatsoever.
play at the Biloxi, what's it called? Oh, shoot. It's not, I can't think of it, but.
The Biloxi's minor league team is the Shuckers, correct?
Yes.
So that is just completely not related to minor league hockey at all, but I did see this on Twitter. Are you aware of what Macon, Georgia's minor league baseball team's team name is? It's the best one there is.
They're not I was thinking the Biscuits. That's Montgomery.
No, that's Montgomery.
I don't know.
It's in that family, though.
Yeah.
The Macon Bacon.
Oh, wow.
That is elite stuff.
That's really good.
I mean, look, y'all know, and I'm not going to bitch about uniforms today, I promise, even though the Saints had helmets that didn't match their jerseys last night, and LSU's wearing all white like morons. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm as traditional as they come, obviously. I'm all in on ridiculous minor league baseball team names.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure Baby Cakes was good because
no, it wasn't. It was
that's not
good.
A thing.
No.
If you wanted to be the King Cake Babies or the King Cakes, that would have been fine. The Baby Cakes didn't really work. But the Macon Bacon, That's working.
That's really good.
The Augusta Green Jackets.
The Trash Pandas.
The Trash Pandas is awesome. They're raccoons. I'm all in on stupid minor league names. You got to make something interesting in that way. So I'm good with it. So that's all good.
But they're going back to that's like the Baton Rouge Zydeco. That's just stupid, man. Like if they were in Lafayette, maybe that's fine with me. But it just doesn't. I don't like it.
It's fine.
It's okay. It's just not. It could have been better, I think.
How do you feel about Pelicans as a nickname?
I don't love it.
I like it.
It's again, it's fine. It's not like it's not gonna be my favorite, but
it's okay. Utah should give the Jazz back.
They need to just give the Jazz back. I mean, look, Gail, open up the
Yodelers, the Utah Yodelers, and we'll take the Jazz
that's
back.
fine. I mean, look, because Utah just got an NHL team this year, and they're just called the Utah Hockey Club, I think.
What? Are they playing?
Yeah, the Utah Hockey Club. Yeah, they're playing in this year in the NHL.
We got to talk LSU-Arkansas, but they founded a franchise and didn't name the franchise?
They're called the Utah Hockey Club right now. Just like the Washington football.
Doing?
The Washington football team.
That was a little different circumstance. We didn't know we were going to have to change the team name there, and you kind of got that thrown in your face. When we were how many years ago did they decide they were doing this?
I don't know, but
and
this
we
is
can't
their
come up with
first
the name
season.
of a hockey team?
The Utah Hockey Club.
This is an outrage.
It's pretty sad. I really don't know. I think they're doing a fan vote, but for some reason...
do it 2 years ago.
I don't know why they didn't do it before the season. I don't know.
That's unacceptable. All right. Let's talk about LSU and Arkansas, shall we? That's enough Utah Hockey Club for this Football Friday. All week we have talked about this spot for LSU, and y'all are well aware of that. I have broken this game down a lot of different ways. I've watched a lot of highlights of Arkansas. I have a pretty good feel for kind of what their personnel looks like, how they play, and statistically it kind of bears out that way. And I obviously know kind of what LSU's tendencies are. LSU has not dominated anyone this year. They got beat by USC. They came home and they were in a dogfight with Nichols in the third quarter, which was pathetic. They went to South Carolina and they got down 17-0. It was all they could do to get out of there with a win. But you figured they would probably take control against a terrible UCLA team like Indiana had done the week before, and they didn't do that. And so that's a little discouraging. Now, they beat up on South Alabama, sure, but that is South Alabama. I'm to the point where when you just look at this matchup, man for man, team for team, if this game was in Tiger Stadium, I think I would pick LSU to win this game by like 17 points. Like, I think this is a great matchup for LSU. I say that for a few reasons. Arkansas likes their pass rush. Landon Jackson's been really good there. I think LSU can completely neutralize that. I don't think Arkansas's secondary is very good. They haven't played anyone who can throw the ball outside of Mark Bowman at Oklahoma State, and he threw for over 300 yards on him in that game. Look, Peyton Thorne, not any good. Obviously, you look at what A&M has had at quarterback, and that's been very iffy. Marcel Reed played that game, and he is not a great thrower. It's not an Arkansas team that has played good quarterbacks, and Garrett Nussmeier is. And so I don't think that Arkansas secondary is great. I think LSU can go to work on them, and I think they're going to run the ball a little bit in this game as well. You look at Arkansas on offense, Taylon Green is not equipped to kind of hurt LSU in the secondary. It's just kind of a heavy running offense, and LSU's done okay stopping the run except for the big plays, and they've done a better job of stopping those. I thought they were in a pretty good spot on that 50-yard run that Ole Miss busted, missed a tackle, and that happened. So it's not a dominant run defense, but I don't know that I expect Arkansas to go up and down the field, and even when they have gone up and down the field, they've been bad in the red zone. So I love this matchup for LSU for a lot of different reasons. But it's going to be tough to go on the road and get this done because that crowd's going to be into it, and we've kind of seen that this year in the SEC. Now, yes, I can also point to the other side of the coin. I can tell you that Kentucky went into Oxford and won that game. I can tell you that Florida went up and should have won in Knoxville. Those are instances of the road team going on there and handling business. But it's going to be a tough environment. I talked to Josh Williams on Tuesday. I talked to Braden Swenson on Tuesday. Who else did we talk to on Tuesday? Jordan Gilbert was there, and they all said all the right things. They talked about how every game in the SEC is tough. They talked about how teams have gotten upset this year. They talked about the 24-hour rule and all that kind of stuff. And I tend to think of all the things that I trust in Brian Kelly's program, one of them is kind of the mental approach. And I feel like he beats that into their brains so early and so often in their LSU time with the questionnaires they have to fill out and all the supplements they have to take and their routine and their regiment and their preparation leading to performance and all the things that you hear Brian Kelly say all the time. I think that has been beaten into their brains. And LSU is not a young team. Whether you want to talk about some of the young guys that have played or not, and start to look at that. Look at the offensive line. 4 of those 5 guys are old. Garrett Nussmeier is old. Josh Williams, old. Kyron Lacey, old. CJ Daniels, old. Mason Taylor, old. Gio Paez, Braden Swinson, Savion Jones, Greg Penn, Zy Alexander, Sage Ryans, Major Burns. Like, look how many guys I'm rattling off here that have been in college 3, 4, 5 years. It's an old team. I do not expect LSU to show up flat. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves in sports commentary is when someone analyzing things or discussing the team says they came out flat. There are times where it applies, but sometimes you come out and you just get your butt kicked. And that doesn't mean you came out flat. You just got beat. And I'm not ruling that out on Saturday for LSU, but I'm telling you, they're not going to come out and not be ready to play. You can point to the South Carolina game all you want, and maybe they were still licking their wounds. I'm not sure. But this team will be ready to go on the road. But I think Arkansas is going to be ready to go too. Bobby Petrino has done a good job with limited resources here, and their defensive coordinator has done a really good job as well. What we're going to find out in Saturday's game is whether or not that great defense that Arkansas has played is because Auburn's not good and Tennessee's offense is a mess and A&M was playing a backup quarterback and isn't dynamic on offense, and whether it's just that or if they're really, really good on offense. That's an interesting thing that we'll learn. It was the same kind of thing with LSU's defense last week, where we're like, all right, they've kind of played better against Lenoris Sellers and South Alabama. Can you step up in class and handle Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart? And they did. That's the question for Arkansas this week. Can they step up and move from the Peyton Thorne, Nico Iamaleava to dealing with Garrett Nussmeier, who's been among the nation's leaders in completion and done a really good job of moving the ball. Ultimately, and I'll talk about this in my pick coming up in 20 minutes, it feels like turnovers could play a crucial part here because Taylor Green has thrown 5 picks. Garrett Nussmeier has thrown 6 picks. And that could be a huge piece in this game, the generosity of these 2 quarterbacks throwing the ball to the wrong team. Taylor Green's have largely been due to inaccuracy. Garrett Nussmeier's have been due to poor decision-making. One of those is easier to clean up than the other. Decision-making is easier to clean up than inaccuracy. Taylor Green's never been an accurate quarterback. Taylor Green has completed between 57 and 62% of his throws his entire 3-year run as a starting quarterback in college football. He's not an accurate passer. So that is likely to crop up again on Saturday night. He's likely to misfire, whether he misfires low on a slant route and it's just an incomplete, or he sails one over the top and a safety is right there to catch it, remains to be seen. Garrett Nussmeier has got to take care of the football. On the road, it's imperative. LSU was able to overcome it in front of its home crowd last week. You cannot put yourself in that position again. If LSU limits the turnovers, and if they don't have one on Saturday, I think they'll win, and potentially comfortably. But right now, you're looking at a quarterback that made 2 bad decisions in South Carolina, that made 2 bad decisions against South Alabama, that made 2 bad decisions against Ole Miss. Those have to get cleaned up, and that's just part of it. If you're going to drop back to throw it 56 times like they did last week, the odds are you're not going to go 56 for 56 in decision-making. You'd like that. It'd be great if that was the case, but that's not always going to be the case. You need him to clean that stuff up. He took it seriously last week. It's not one of those deals where he thinks things are going great. I've covered specifically one LSU quarterback who would dismiss any notion that he wasn't playing very well. That's not the case with Nussmeier. They had one of the biggest win of his young career on Saturday, and he came into the post-game media session and said, that's the worst game I've played in my career. He knows he's got to clean that up. He's got to do it in this game. His offensive line will keep him clean. Decision-making has got to be clean. We'll see if Taylor Green's inaccuracy crops up and hurts Arkansas on Saturday. All right, our Football Fridays each and every Friday. We're smack dab in the middle of it right now. We start at 7 o'clock in the morning with OTB. They go to 10 o'clock. Live at lunch cranks up an hour early on Fridays from Rufino's. That's Jimmy Ott and Charles Handigraf, joined by Richard Dixon at 10 o'clock every single Friday. That leads right into me from 1 to 3. Matt Moscona is with you from 3 to 6 every Friday. And that's when we start our high school coverage. Cade Wassam, Louisiana Prep Preview, getting you ready for Catholic High and Central Wildcats this week, and after that one goes final, it'll be Louisiana Prep Scoreboard here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, getting you caught up on all the scores from around the state of Louisiana. So from 7 a.m. till midnight, we are live and local here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge every single Friday. My Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. We'll step aside. When we come back, it's take it or leave it. My pick still to come in 25 minutes. The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. EvolvePT.com is the website. If you've been hurt and you go to the doc and they tell you what the issue is and where your physical therapy needs to start, you can determine where you go at that point. They'll probably recommend somebody, but if you want to choose where you need to go to get back to being your active self, you need to choose Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. They've got state-of-the-art equipment in there and some incredible physical therapists that are going to be hands-on with you to get you back to being your normal self. Whether that's running each and every day, working out, playing golf, getting back on the tennis court, playing with the grandkids, or if you're a youth athlete and trying to get back out with your friends on the field. Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports can help you with all of it, no matter your age. Anyone that's active is a candidate to go work out and have some physical therapy at Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. Check them out online, evolvept.com. Or check him out on Starring, near Highland Road, right there by Sammy's Grill. It's Robbie Bolton and his team. He's been at this for almost 2 decades. Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports, evolvept.com.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, you know, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, you know. We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp.
Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Jumbo Gulf Shrimp, clean, crispy fried catfish, shoestring fries, hush puppies, honey butter rolls, beignet bites, crawfish etouffee, pork chops. They got it all over there at Cork's. Here's the deal, Beck. Here's the deal, Cassie. If the LSU Tigers can beat Arkansas on Saturday, next Friday, Cork's for everybody.
Oh, wow. That's I like it because I'm pretty sure they're going to win. So that sounds good to me.
You're pretty sure they're going to win.
Yeah,
What gives you that impression? We haven't heard your breakdown of the game. We're going to get my pick here in 15
minutes. That's true.
Minutes.
No, I think it's going to be close, as most people do. But, man, I just think LSU's offense and Garrett Nussmeier, I think they're just going to be too much for Arkansas's defense, who have been relatively good so far this year. But the LSU's defense is just playing better, man. Arkansas's offense compared to Ole Miss is not. I don't think they're very comparable, and they held Ole Miss to 23 points. So, to me, the game should go with, in the way that LSU, maybe they're down. They haven't started well really in any games, but they may start a little slow. But at the end of the day, I do think LSU wins by probably at least a score and a half, maybe 10 points, I think.
All right, I will take that, and that will get you Corks. What are you looking for from Corks?
Oh, man, I mean. Well,
you sit there and stare at it all.
I know.
Friday for 2
Like,
hours.
well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the po' boy is probably the way to go, and then maybe some crawfish etouffee as well.
Wow, that's getting a little greedy.
Well, look, I mean, if we're getting Corks, we might as well go all out. That's the way I look at it. What are you getting there, Cassie?
I don't know. That catfish looks really good.
It does. It really does.
It is quite good. It is quite good. So we'll see if we can make it work. I'll get on the horn. I know some people over at Corks. We'll see if we can.
It makes sense.
We'll see if we can make that happen. All right, let's play Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. Tony Bennett retired or quit, whichever way you want to look at it. He's done with Virginia, and he essentially cited NIL in the portal, basically all the other things that the other older coaches, i.e. Roy Williams and Coach K, have mentioned in their departures. 3 weeks before the season starts. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
I think you got to coach the team. I mean, that's so. I mean, especially if you announce that you're leaving, all those problems go away because you don't have to recruit. You don't have to worry about if guys transfer out or not because you're not going to be there to deal with the collateral. So I think he should have coached the season out. But I get it, man. Like we have put so much power in these players' hands. And some of it's good and some of it's a little bit too much, but the fact remains, this is a very difficult thing for coaches to navigate. When you have an opportunity as a player to just up and leave because you don't get the money that you want, you look at UNLV, their quarterback who wasn't under contract was just like, hey, I need more money or I'm out of here. And they're like, well, you don't get any more money. He just left. I don't know many lines of work that are quite like that. You usually have a contract and agreed upon salary. That doesn't happen in this era of NIL. So you can just renegotiate on the fly, and if you don't get what you like, you're just out of there. And I get it. That's a very difficult way. And you look at Bennett, he's only got to deal with 9 guys. A football coach got to deal with 70. I realize that both numbers are bigger than that. It's 12 on a roster, but you figure you're not going to have 12 malcontents on your team. You're probably not going to have 105 malcontents on your football team that are dying to get every cent they possibly can. But I get that's a hard way to do things when you've got the any line of work. If you're trying to run a sawmill or a paper company, if every single employee in the middle of every Tuesday can be I need more money now or I'm leaving. That's a hard way to run anything, and that's what you've done in college football right now. So we thought this might happen. We think that's why Nick Saban decided he was out of there, and Tony Bennett has done a great job at Virginia. And you would imagine has some really great kids that could get into that school and just had it.
Yeah, it just, again, the timing for me is just, man, if you, maybe he has just been mulling this decision for a long time and just finally decided, but if you were on the ropes and you're like, man, I think I'm going to retire, do it 2 months ago, do it 3 months ago.
Yeah, it feels because I know that LSU basketball is hosting recruits during football season, all that kind of stuff. It feels like there was some instance trying to recruit a guy, and they're having it instead of talking about where the academic center is and what the team, what the travel situations are, and where you live at Virginia. He's like, all right, well, where's my money? and Tony Bennett just snaps, I've had it. I quit.
Maybe so.
That
Maybe
just
so.
feels like that time of year because they're practicing right now.
Yeah. It sucks to see this, man, because, Tony Bennett, obviously one of the best coaches in college
Do you
basketball.
like watching them play? Most people hate
No,
it.
I mean-
love it. I think it's awesome that they play great defense.
I like it too because it just proves that there's not one way to do it. There's not one way for teams to be successful. You don't have to score 85 points or 75 a game to win. You can do it the way Tony Bennett did. I mean, he won a championship doing it. So I really enjoyed the fact that he was against the norm and showed that it could be done.
Yeah.
So, all right, next one here. Devontae Adams' hamstring will magically feel better with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback instead of Gardner Minshew. Take it or leave it.
I will take that. I think Devontae is probably feeling a little bit better as a Jet than he did as a Raider. That hamstring was just bothering him a little bit. There's people kind of talking about Marshawn Lattimore last night. It could be a business decision. I think Devontae will be just fine with Aaron Rodgers. But we mentioned when we were setting the table for the NFL scorebook, like he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in 28 games, and the Jets have had the exact same offensive output in terms of points with Rodgers through 6 games they did with Zach Wilson last year. So they need some help in New York.
They do. Let's see if he gets it. But next one here, calling the Hogs. Take it or leave it.
Well, as the foremost authority on all SEC traditions, obviously I understand and that my word is final here. I'm okay with it.
I'm leaving it.
I'm going to take it. It's fine. It's goofy.
I'll take it.
But it is uniquely theirs.
It is.
So I'll give it to them. I think it probably sounds better in a basketball arena than it does at a football game. It is goofy, but it's theirs. So I'll give it to
Here's the problem, Hunt, and I learned that this is also a problem with Ole Miss because I was sitting in the upper deck visitor section at the game last week. They both have one chant. It's one. They have one. That's it. That's all they have, just like Tennessee only has Rocky Top. They do it 30 times a game. I was at an Arkansas game in Tiger Stadium a couple of years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I was also sitting in the visitor section. I had some family from Arkansas in, and they did Whoop Pig Suey probably about 35 times in the game. It just, after the 20th time, it's just like, all right, guys, like we get it. You like the chant. It's what you do, but come on, can we just do it like 10 or 15 times a game? It just it gets a bit much.
How do we feel about the Ole Miss fans doing hotty toddy during the alma mater last week?
That was probably not the best idea, but
I'm sure all the people that did that were super pumped in overtime.
Yeah,
Enjoy your drive back to Mississippi, folks.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next one, Scotty Scheffler will be the game day guest picker. Makes sense to me. Take it or leave it.
I mean, he'll probably have watched some of the games
and
give a reasonable opinion, but he's super boring.
Oh, yeah,
like,
he's not very exciting.
Boring.
Not very exciting.
Now, I mean, you could go either way. Like the girl they had on from Always Sunny last week who was talking about losing her virginity at Oregon.
She had the energy, though.
She did, but she didn't know anything about football.
Not
So it's
really.
hard to strike that perfect balance there. But Scheffler's going to be really boring. Like he is not interesting to hear talk.
I can't wait to see him like when they go to the Texas game and he has to give his pick. He tries to like get up and have some emotion. It's just going to be so.
I still can't believe he's going to go back to the same champions menu like we talked about this week. Pick something different,
I really hope
Scotty.
he doesn't.
Have a little creativity in your life.
Yeah, it absolutely needs to. All right, last one here. Indiana will stay unbeaten with Nebraska coming in this week. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
We feel like at some point these teams that we're looking at, the SMUs, the Indiana, are going to turn into a pumpkin. Nebraska's well-coached, physical team. It is in Bloomington.
It is.
But I just...
Not exactly known to be, I think, a very incredible environment. Probably a good one, but probably not going to be...
Probably better. What's it, Assembly Hall? Or is it Memorial Gym?
Yeah, I think it's Assembly
Hall.
I think it's Assembly Hall, yeah.
Well, man.
That's a great environment.
You want to talk classic? Those candy striper warm-up uniforms? That's what you... You know, it bums me out that LSU comes out for warm-ups and they're all wearing different stuff. One guy's got the long sleeves on, the T-shirt. One guy just has his jersey on untucked.
That's the old man in you,
Just
Hunt.
come on, let's get in uniform.
It's okay.
We got the goods.
It's just the warm-ups. Just look, you can have your old man stuff about the uniforms, and I don't disagree with all your takes on that. But it's the warm-ups.
Wouldn't you think the team would look better coming out for warm-ups if they were all wearing the same thing?
Who cares? They're gonna look the same when you come out the tunnel before the game starts.
Out there. Let's just get it
it's
together.
Warm-ups.
I'm just trying. They gotta. Here's the deal. I'm gonna run for president of the United States coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Are you gonna run on a?
My platform is gonna be one thing.
Uniforms.
I'm going to spend all my time on uniforms. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to deal with foreign policy, no global pandemics. I'm not dealing with the economy. Absolutely not. We're not dealing with immigration. We're not dealing with abortion. The only thing I will put myself in charge of here is we're going to get people looking quality on the court, on the field, That's going to happen
On the diamond,
under my administration.
Yeah, let's do it.
The Diamondbacks are in for a rude awakening.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have to go back to this awful stuff.
The Broncos.
The Broncos are in trouble. They looked terrible last night. The Saints were bad last night. South Louisiana has classic uniforms. We've ruined them with color combinations
That's the thing.
this week.
So the Saints, I don't understand. They I guess they couldn't
paint the helmets.
They couldn't afford to get different helmets.
LSU's
like, what are we doing?
Wearing stupid helmets that are wrong color this week. Send them to LSU. They'll fix them.
Those Saints throwbacks are so good, and they for some reason just decided we gotta slap the old logo on the regular helmets instead of getting a new one.
This is my platform. I will run. I will dictate what everyone is wearing, and we're going to be looking real good.
Well,
playing
okay,
sports.
you just gotta watch your language. Or you said dictate. Let's not get into the dictatorship aspect of it here. Let's
from a
stay
uniform
away
perspective,
from that.
it is. That's what it's going to be. I'm taking over.
You know what?
Taking
That
control.
might work though, hon. I don't know. Who knows? At this point,
Write me in. Write me in the ballot.
I'm gonna write you in, hon.
I appreciate that. All right, I guess there's only one thing left to do. I gotta pick this football game. We will do that and get on down the road. It is a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Every single model on the Genesis line, from the entry level to the highest end model, comes with the same safety features. The entire line was given the IIHA top safety picks. Some of them were top safety picks plus. I know that safety is of paramount importance when you're selecting a vehicle. Genesis absolutely checks all of your boxes there. Plus, it is a luxury brand of vehicle. Try the experience out. Go by the dealership at PQ and Airline. It is first class. You will feel like you are in a 5-star hotel lobby while you're waiting to purchase a vehicle or getting your service done. And if you're getting that service done and you've purchased a new Genesis, you get 3 years of complimentary service. And they can do it in a valet manner. So you can drive to work, sit down at your desk, call Genesis Baton Rouge, say, hey, got to get some maintenance done. They will send somebody. They will drop a car off to you. They will take your vehicle to the service aisle. They will handle whatever it needs to be handled, your oil change, cabin air filter, wiper blades, whatever the case may be. They'll drive it right back to you. Done. That's part of the experience of dealing with Genesis of Baton Rouge. If you're in the market for a car, you're probably going to be on Airline Highway anyway. Stop by Genesis of Baton Rouge. You may not have because they've only been around for a little over a year. It's fantastic. The line of vehicles look great. They're safe. The staff is first class. It's a wonderful experience over there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check out the inventory online, genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Reminder of our broadcast schedule tomorrow, 6 o'clock kickoff. That means 1 o'clock, Eagle 98.1 game day. Charles Hannigan and Matt Musso from Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee for 3 hours getting you ready. They'll hand it off to me at 4 o'clock on the LSU Sports Radio Network. Me, Brandon, Taylor, Marlon Favorite will get you ready on the network with the Fighting Tiger pregame show. We'll give it to the broadcast of the game 30 minutes after it goes final. Me, Brandon, and Marlon back on the Fighting Tiger postgame report on the LSU Sports Radio Network. And 90 minutes after the game goes final, Charles Handegriff and Richard Dixon, Eagle 98.1 Game Day's postgame show from right here in the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, taking your phone call. So we'll start up at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Here under our guarantee roof. All right, Beck, my plan tonight is to get some chicken fingers and french fries, give them to the little guy for 6 o'clock first pitch at the box. I figure I may be able to get an inning and a half maybe out of the chicken fingers and french fries. Then we got to go to the playground and see if I can't get another 2 innings out of that. How do we feel about that plan?
So let's say the over-under of innings watched is 3. I'll take the over. I think the Myers man is going to be in good spirits today. I think
he'll probably be in good spirits, but he's probably not going to be behaved enough for me to stay there. That's
I mean, how does like the timing wise? How do the innings like? Is it like a normal game?
Yeah, normal game.
Okay, so I don't know. They're not going to be. I think it'll be a little bit faster than a regular game. So maybe so. Maybe you can get through 3.
I'm hopeful, but not confident.
Yeah, understandable.
I'll report back coming up on Monday. All right, that's all we can do here from our perch on this Football Friday. One thing left, that is picking the football game.
The LSU Tigers. The Arkansas Razorbacks. It's time for Hunt's final pick.
All right, look, I got heat last week for picking Ole Miss, like a lot of heat. Folks were coming by the pregame show saying, man, you picked Ole Miss. You're such an idiot. I made the Tiger Droppings message board. They were ticked at me. I was wrong, folks. No question about it. But I did think that Ole Miss was going to win that game. I just didn't think LSU would stop them. In fact, LSU did play good defense. LSU didn't move the ball as much as I thought they would in the first half, but they got it done in the second half. I had contended all year that I did not think LSU was going to lose to Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oklahoma in Tiger Stadium. That stadium matters, and it mattered on Saturday night, and LSU was able to ride that to a dramatic win. That flips on its head here. You got to go to Fayetteville, and we can look down our nose at Arkansas all we want, all our merry days. But Arkansas plays LSU tough, and that stadium is going to be very difficult to play in early on. It's going to be full, and it is going to be loud. That fan base was ready to quit on Sam Pittman just a couple weeks ago. Now they're ready to contend for something. I don't know what, but they're going to talk about beating LSU for sure. I love this matchup for LSU. Love it. I don't think Taylon Green is very good. He doesn't throw it great. 58% completion. He's turned the ball over some. I think Arkansas's defense is being propped up a little bit by bad quarterback play opposite them. I don't think Marcel Reed is great. I don't think Peyton Thorne is great. I don't think Nico Iamaleava is playing very well at all. And Garrett Nussmeier is good. What I think is going to happen in this game is that Arkansas is going to play a relaxed style of defense to try to prevent LSU from throwing the ball as easily as they have. They're not going to be loaded boxes. And I think that's going to trigger LSU to run the football. I expect Josh Williams and Caden Durham to find some holes and run the ball. That needs to happen. It's just very difficult to go on the road and try to throw it 55 times. Like they threw it 51 and dropped back 5 more times in the game on Saturday. I don't love that method. But I think LSU's going to run the ball. I think they're going to throw the ball. How much do I trust this LSU defense after what they've done in the last 2 games? Yeah, you put the clamps on South Alabama. That is, of course, South Alabama. But she played pretty well against Ole Miss. Now, the Rebels, not great on offense against Kentucky. Had their issues when Trey Harris went out against South Carolina as well, and he didn't play in the second half of that game. What do I take from it? I think LSU's defense is getting better. And I told you earlier in the show that I would take LSU in kind of a runaway inside Tiger Stadium against this Arkansas team. They're going on the road, so it's not in Tiger Stadium. But I like LSU in this game. I like LSU to win this thing 31-20. That is a 2-score win for LSU. I'm ready to trust this defense against this Arkansas offense, and I'm ready to trust LSU to run the ball a little bit better and be more efficient on offense. The thing that can be the deal breaker here is if Garrett Nussmeier cannot clean up these interceptions. You've got to stop throwing the ball to the other team, especially on the road against an upset-minded team. Take care of that, take care of the football, and go get a win. I like LSU 31-20 up there in Fayetteville. If they can get that win, all of a sudden, I think you go to College Station with an opportunity to really cement yourself as right there in the college football playoff picture, or even though you might lose, you can come back and still be in it in Tuscaloosa. LSU and Arkansas, 6 o'clock in Fayetteville tomorrow. I like the Tigers by a couple of scores. All right, that's it for us. Matt's going to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back Monday. We'll talk to Denton Day, react to the entire weekend in the SEC, and, of course, LSU and Arkansas. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. Let's see if I can watch some baseball this evening. See you Monday on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio, video, security solutions, avssla.com is the website. Mitchell Fisher and his team are fantastic. We have used them in the Palmer House for all of our audio. They hung our televisions as well, and they handled our security. All 3 that are in the name right there, the audio, the video, and security. Mitchell Fisher and his team installed it all. And I'll tell you, the installation was fantastic. It was the day after we moved into the house. And then the customer service after that installation has been first class as well. We had what we thought were some issues with our smoke detector that Mitchell Fisher installed. So my wife called him and said, hey, we don't know what's going on. He was there that afternoon, and he fixed it in like 20 seconds because we're not all that bright. But he is, and he can fix it. So we had him come over. That's the kind of service you're going to get with a local company like Audio Video Security Solutions. Look at them on Instagram, AVSS_BR. And I always tell you to check them out online. It's Audio Video Security Solutions. They're online at avssla.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help.